lot of beautiful faces. Wendy loved you all. And all I can think of right now is when I look at all these people, wow. Wow. Wendy's honored. I can feel it in my heart. She would take a moment. She'd allow us to take a moment. And I ask each of you, if you can just breathe in for a moment. Ground yourself into Mother Earth. Feel all the incredible love in this room. I think the best way that we can really begin is if I turn to three of her dear friends, Andre's sister Anne-Marie, Jean Westney, Janice, and I hope I pronounce your last name the right way, Marek. They're going to lead us in Wendy. Wendy is a Cherokee morning song, and it was one of Wendy's favorite songs. It's an incredibly beautiful, soft, feminine song that kind of comes in like the mist in the morning, and then you find yourself being encompassed by it, and it swells you up and fills you with love. And whenever we had a session at the farm, Wendy's whole being would just light up when she sang this song, and she would drum and rattle to it, and I couldn't think of a better way to start this. Wendy. Thank you. My name is Michael Marinick. Many of you will know me as my spirit name, Gray Owl. And I've had the pleasure of knowing Wendy for about 30 years now. And for me, a celebration of life isn't a day. It's not just a day like today. A celebration of life starts the moment that we meet someone. It's that shared experience. It's that dance of life together that we do. That's what makes us richer. That's what makes us fuller. That's when we come together and grow as a community. I would like to call upon Wendy's brother Brian to say a few words from the perspective of the family community that Wendy belonged to.
My name is Brian Golding, and I think it's absolutely awesome, awesome that there are so many people here today and showing your love for her. And so it's absolutely incredible to me. So Andre asked me to talk a little bit about Wendy as in her early years. And I certainly have lots of memories of holidays, family trips that we took, times at Christmas, which went on all the way up until just this very past year. And so I have lots and lots of memories. I think you all have memories of Wendy as well, so cherish those, please. When we were young, I remember that one of the things that Wendy often did was to actually babysit other children in the community, and she was actually very popular in terms of being a babysitter, so she was certainly well liked. I'm not sure that my brother and I felt the same way, because being that she was older than either of us, it's not a good idea always to have an elder sibling babysit you. But again, that's sort of strange memories that come back at these times. Now, Wendy was spiritual from the very beginning, but she was also very obstinate. And she liked to do things her own way. And being older than me, she could drive and I couldn't. And church was coming up, but my parents were sick. So Wendy was charged with driving us to church. And we both sort of decided, let's not go to church. And then it turned out that, well, a police officer noticed a rolling stop, and with the resulting ticket, my parents instantly found out that we did not go to church. So she was spiritual, but she very much liked to do things her own way. One of the other things that I remember very much when we were young is that during the summer, I took sailing lessons, and during the summer, my sister took riding lessons. I no longer sail, but I think you can see from looking around you here that Wendy has been connected with horses ever since she was a little child. And I'll tell you just one short anecdote to illustrate Wendy's intelligence, Wendy's empathy and understanding of other people. And this was something which was initially very embarrassing for me, was when I had gone to university and I was coming back for just a visit, and Wendy and I were sitting at the kitchen table. I believe my mother was cooking something for us, which was, again, another great memory. We were sitting across the kitchen table, and then all of a sudden, I was horribly embarrassed, absolutely mortified, because for some reason, out of pure habit and not thinking at all, I found myself playing footsie with my sister under the kitchen table. And I didn't realize, what? And Wendy, she put it all together instantly. And she blurted out, "You've got a girlfriend." At which my mother dropped the pan. But Wendy had it all together instantly at that point. And so that woman that I was eventually became my wife. And that's how my parents found out about my wife. But again, it's just simply an indication of how smart, how empathetic she was, that she could understand these things right away. Whereas I think if I did it with my brother, he wouldn't understand what the hell was going on at all. So Wendy was very, very popular. I don't think high schools back then were quite as cliquish as they are today. But I know that Wendy had lots and lots of friends. And one of those friends is very, very special and has been around for a very, very long time. And that's Janice. And I believe you're to speak next.
Start by offering my heartfelt compassion and sympathy to Andre, Hope, David, James, and all of you who really keenly feel that space where Wendy was. I also want to offer you what helps me each time that ache becomes something that takes your breath away, and that's gratitude. Because I am so thankful for the gift of having her as my friend for all those years. If we haven't met, my name is Janice, and Wendy was and still is my best friend. We met in 1980-81, so that's like 38 years ago. I was marketing manager at one of Niagara's wineries, and she was working for a radio station selling advertising. And so she came to meet with me. She said, I want to help you sell wine. And of course, you can imagine where that went from there. But it was an instant reconnection. It was like this knowing that we had traveled together many, many, many times. It was like finding the sister of my heart all over again. And at that time, Wendy was working single mother with 2 young children, Hope and David, and she took mothering fairly seriously. So we took the kids camping, we went fishing, tried to teach David to fish, but no one wanted to touch the worm. When she tried skiing for the first time, she dared me to do the same, and so in her trademark fashion of never doing anything small, shortly after that we all went off to Whistler to ski and realized the bunny hills were somewhat significantly higher than we were used to. And we even rented a house outside of Collingwood for, I think, 3 winters. And we'd ski every weekend together. We did it with another good friend of ours and embraced winter, even though Wendy really did not like being cold. We had fun. We shared a love of cooking. We shared a love of reading and learning. And she managed all this in spite of the fact that she generally averaged a 6-day work week most of the time. She had an incredible work ethic and a really strong desire to succeed at anything she put her mind to. She started a small marketing and promotions company that she called Merlin, because even back then she really believed in magic. And we kept talking about the call of something spiritual really speaking to us. Her passion for learning and growing was limitless, and we spent many hours together. If any of you remember the Omega Center bookstore in Toronto, and we would spend hours there exploring all the different ideas and thoughts around spirituality. And her book collection grew and continued to grow and grow. But so did her thirst to learn and know more. And in one of our many conversations, she would talk about how sad she was, the fact that she'd had to give up riding. She'd had an injury from a fall when she was quite young, and the doctors had said she should never ride again. And my sister, who's a physiotherapist, happened to be present at one of those conversations and said, you know, medical thinking on that is really, really shifted, and I actually think you would do well to get back up on a horse. So, of course, well, that was all it took. With great passion, great enthusiasm, she renewed her love of riding. She joined the Governor General's Horse Guard, and that led to playing polo, which, as you can imagine, was perfect for her fiery determination and competitive streak. Monty came into her life as her first horse, and together they would fly down the polo field, totally united in the love of that game. In 1993, she met Andre, and their lives merged heart and soul. They created a marketing communications company together that attracted clients on the Fortune 500 list. They stepped on a path of learning in shamanism, and that became a way of living for them. Wendy introduced Andre to polo, and their love affair with horses led them to this property and a few more horses. I remember Andre saying he always lived in fear when there was an empty stall because it wasn't going to be empty for long. Not long after, Wendy had a polo injury, and that really brought an end to her riding. But it also opened a door to a whole new way of being with horses. And in fact, this path not only changed Wendy's life, but the lives of so many others, including so many of us here. She was in a shamanic ceremony that brought a vision of horses that was so different from anything she'd ever known before, and yet it really spoke to her soul. Her research led her to train with Linda Kohanoff in Arizona, who was working in the emerging field of equine facilitated learning. And this was about working with horses on the ground, not riding, tapping into the innate wisdom that horses have to help people work through their life challenges and go deeper on their journeys of personal discovery. Wendy brought this work back to Canada and started hosting weekend workshops. So she invited me to attend one. She says, I think you really need this. And I thought, I should be a really good friend and support you. But really, it's not going to do anything for me. And it would be really fair to say I wasn't a horse person in any way, shape, or form, except to think they were really pretty. And was I ever wrong? That weekend marked the change in my life as I experienced not only the magic of the horses, but the depth, the growing depth of Wendy's passion for this work. Wendy's never dreamed small, and she had an incredible ability to vision and manifest. She and Andre founded Horse Spirit Connections. Andre went to Arizona to train, and they created the Feel approach. And static is not a word I would also ever use to associate with Wendy, because even as she and Andre worked with private clients and did workshops, she was searching and researching ways of making this modality even more comprehensive. She was able to really feel into what was missing, what would make the work more empowering, both for humans and for the horses. So the Feel approach takes its roots from the teaching that they had in Arizona, and it goes far beyond. Wendy saw her horse partners as just that, partners. Four-legged partners to be respected, honored, and given choice. She also saw them as her teachers, guides, mentors, and she was always open to learning from them. Drawing on her shamanic studies, she saw how horses and spirituality were such a natural pairing to help take people deeper into their self-discovery. And as Wendy continued to witness the transformation that the horses were bringing about, her vision for this work grew. And in 2008, she and Andre created and held the first Feel certification training program, a 6-month training program designed to teach others to take this work out to the world. And I'm really proud to say I was in that very first group, and it was life-changing. Because not only do we learn how to facilitate interactions between horses and humans, but the process, and Wendy, demanded that we really be authentic with ourselves. She challenged us to work from our hearts and not our heads. She dared us to be courageous in our own self-discovery, and she demanded that we meet her impeccable standards. And I can still recall being on the receiving end of the infamous Wendy look, when the latter didn't happen, and I know several of you have also felt that. It's the look that could make even the strongest person want to run and hide. But she challenged us to be our best, and not just the gold star achievement best, but to be the best human you could be, to be connecting more deeply with your heart, with compassion in our relationships with each other and with horses. After more than 25 training programs, Wendy's vision expanded to include creating a program to train the trainers. And the first 2 trainers to complete this programs now operate facilities in British Columbia and Sweden. Feel was really moving out into the world, and each of these trainers continually carry out Wendy's legacy of healing and strengthening the horse-human bond. Trainings are now offered in Quebec, and they're continuing to grow, expand here in Ontario. We even have in the next training coming up 2 women coming all the way from South Africa to experience that legacy. This journey with horses and spirit, Wendy truly came into her power. She held nothing back in the sharing of her knowledge, her wisdom and teachings, and that incredible generosity helped so many of us find our way in life. Wendy truly respected and honored her horse teachers, never lost her connection with them even after they passed on to the horse ancestors. And today being here, it's as if you can feel the energy of her spirit as she runs free with Monty, Pappy, Thor, Angelina, Rosa, Dusty, and they were all so many of our teachers here. Her connection with horses runs so deep, I believe it spans time, distance, and space, because at the moment she chose to leave the world, I was in British Columbia, and we were outside in the round pen wrapping up our final activity of the day with a horse named Maya. My phone rang, and I moved away from the group and took the call, and it was David calling to let me know his mother had passed. And I took some time to take this in before returning to the group, who had gone back to the meeting room, and I noticed Maya was still in the round pen, and she was lying down. So I went into the group, and they explained that as my phone rang, Maya lay down and absolutely refused to budge. She wouldn't get up, she wouldn't leave, and so they just wanted to do their wrap-up. I shared the news with the group, many of whom knew Wendy, And we went back outside, and in a circle we gathered around Maya, and each of us put a word or a prayer into the space to honor Wendy's spirit. And when the last prayer was spoken, Maya stood up, shook herself off, and walked off to the gate. I first met Wendy when she came to help me sell wine. And over the next 38 years, she helped, guided, and inspired me in so many ways, and did so for countless others. Her service to others was one of her greatest gifts. Many people have shared that she's come to them in her dreams since the night she passed. And I know in those first few nights, I'd wake up every night with the same words in my repeating: heart, horse, spirit. And then a few nights later came 3 new words: open, listen, follow. And finally came love, wisdom, soul. And I wrote them down, and I realized that the message came through. When you open your heart, you find love. When you listen to the horses, you find wisdom. And when you follow spirit, you find your soul.
Wendy would have been 68 today, although she never looked it and certainly never acted it. When I started to do the math, 68 years is 816 months, or 24,820 days. And sure enough, I can hear her voice behind me saying, "Stop being so damn logical and so dogmatic." So after a little bit of tail wagging, puppy eyes and so forth, I'd give in, and once again, she would have helped me find my balance. These last 6 months of her journey with cancer represent less than 1% of her life journey. And yet, for some damn reason, we're drawn to it. So I'm forever grateful for all the support and love that was given during this time. I will admit, I never knew what to respond to the line, "What can I do to help?" In my own stubborn and stupid way, I didn't know how to accept help. So I thank the children, which really aren't children anymore, Hope, and David, and James, who didn't take no as an answer and stood by my side, held her hand, watched over her. And there were many others, like Charlena, Lorraine, who kept bringing food, which was wonderful, Michael and Janice, of course, Brenda and Harry. Harry would just ask for my list of things to do, and he would do it for me. June, Nick, Tim, and a whole bunch more. So finally, with a good kick in the butt, yes, Wendy still has the strength and determination to get me straight, I somewhat gracefully had to accept help. There's a part of me that finds it ironic that we're celebrating her life on her birthday, because although she loved gatherings and bringing people together, celebrating festivities like Christmas and Thanksgiving and birthdays, she really never wanted a big or public birthday celebration for herself. As a matter of fact, I almost got killed the one year I even suggested that we do one, and that was when she was turning 60. But today I'm glad that you've all come out for this celebration along with those who couldn't be here, as I know that they're holding her in their hearts at this time. I want to thank a couple key people. I want to thank Sue Ann for 2 Mondays ago sending me a morning text which just read, "I'll be there in 20 minutes with notebook and pen." And that's how we kicked off the organization of this activity, of this evening, of this event. And I also want to thank Raina, which I think everybody probably has met by now. She's my little personal angel. So she's the one who stepped in to make sure that all the horses, the dogs, the farm, and me were always covered. And then, of course, she jumped in with her expertise and the humor to tackle this crazy job of chaos and organization. The other person I need to mention was a yummy thank you to Vanessa. Vanessa, are you in here? Oh, there she is. Hi, sweetheart. And is Terry here? Okay, so definitely Vanessa, Terry, and the folks at Lavender Blue Catering for the food for the food and the care that they brought. While Wendy was in Mexico doing at a clinic, and Vanessa and I got together because I had to return some stuff, and of course she was extremely worried about me eating properly because I was now on my own. So she literally loaded me up with single-serving dinners to make sure that I would not starve. No problem. So to each of you who offered support, assistance, a shoulder, an ear, a voice of love, and you are too numerous to call out, I do thank you. And now a big thank you to these guys. Hi, lady. A big thanks to the horses Lady, Paris, Contador, Rhea, and her baby Starlight Dancer, Red Man, Spirit Walker, Juliet, and Braveheart. I hope you all had time to meet them or to revisit them and so on in the barn, because we kept them in for that. And then, of course, there's the dogs that lived on the property here. Those faithful servants that graced us over the years. McGill, Midnight, Brasco, Keiko, Liam, and Mia. When we lost Liam in January, only a week went by before Wendy was adamant about getting a new dog. Not a puppy. It was her way of making sure I would have company and comfort. So our newest member of the family is Maya, who's right over here somewhere. And Maya is a giant Malamute. She came to us as 10 months old. She just turned 1 on March 30th. And a lovely person in the pink shirt is Michael, who came from Montreal, who's actually the breeder. Hey. No? Oh, here, you want to go look? No? Okay, good boy. Okay, so I'm basically getting all these names out in this space so you know that the space is going to be really full, right? Okay. Did I mention the horse ancestors? I don't have to because Janice already did. Okay, so really couldn't figure out how to bring in all the horses in celebration, and now that I see how many people are here, it would have been extremely chaotic to have 9 horses running loose. So opted for only 2, and you know, it is something that I would have definitely thought about, but then you know what would happen to me, right? That Wendy look would have been... So yeah, so we brought Northern Lady and Red Man. Northern Lady was the first, she's our oldest horse being here on the property, and Red Man was in fact Wendy's last riding partner. And as Michael mentioned, it was a nice blend of the masculine and the feminine together. So, so thank you for being here to celebrate a unique, beautiful, and powerful life that we all knew as Wendy. If during this speech I get hit by lightning, not to worry. It's Wendy transforming that Wendy look to keep me on track. This is the first piece I have written and presented without having her watchful eye review it. So in a way, this speech is my test, a test of courage to openly share and to honor her. Between you and I, she planned this. When she and I talked about what if and so forth, what she was really adamant about was that it had to be a celebration. Over the last couple of weeks, what I have come to realize is that her life was not these last 6 months, but the 25 years that we were together. Creating, loving, living, and just being. And for you, it may be more, it may be less, and I propose that there is one common thread that holds us all together. The incredible positive impact that she had on our lives. And she did it by sharing who she was, sharing her gifts, holding space for people and horses, and her giving love. I'm going to do something a little bit odd for some of you, and some of you will know exactly what I'm going to do. I want to start by asking everyone to do what we call a heart connection, as she envisioned it and as she taught it. So please, close your eyes. Take a big breath in. Inhale through your nostrils and exhale through your mouth. Again, inhale through the nose and exhale through your mouth. Now inhale and send your breath to your heart. And visualize exhaling through your heart. And then again, inhale through your nostrils and slowly exhale through your heart as to feel the expansion in your heart. Next, inhale and send your breath to your gut and exhale through your belly. And a second time, inhaling from the nostrils down to your belly and pushing it out. And now the last round. Inhale through the nostrils and exhale by sending your breath all the way down to your legs, to your feet, and right into the ground. And breathing in again. And sending that breath slowly all the way down to your legs, to your feet, and into the earth. And just take a moment to feel that connection and that oneness. And with your eyes still closed, I invite you to inhale by bringing the earth energy from your feet into your heart. And now, as you inhale again, pull the energies of the universe through your head into your heart. Allow those two energies to blend and to find their own balance. And now allow the love that's in your heart to seep out, to fill this room, to fill this farm, to touch one another, and along the way to touch the horses. And now open your eyes to a new moment and to a new way of being. Last year when I was asked to speak to a funeral, something I had never done before, and there's two people in this room that I'll say thank you to, Wendy pulled out a poem and suggested I include it. Last week I received the same poem from Uta in Guelph, who so admired Wendy, and it seemed to be appropriate. It's called An Alien Prayer, and it's from the book The Last Ghost Dance. Don't stand at my grave and weep, for I'm not there, I do not sleep. I am 1,000 winds that blow, I am the diamond's glint on snow. I am the sunlight in ripened grain, I am the gentle autumn's rain. When you awaken in morning's hush, I am the swift uplifting rush of quiet birds in circling flight. I am the soft stars that shine at night. Do not stand at my grave and cry, I am not there, I did not die. What might surprise some of you is that Wendy and I were always very private people. Our celebrations included things like champagne breakfast cabin deep in the woods, long walks while holding hands with puppies that cleared the path of chipmunks and grouse, to distant places and connecting with the spirit of the land, pipe ceremonies in remote locations to connect with our spirit, traveling and just being. We would wake up together, go to work together, play together, and spend our nights together. Many times we were asked, how the hell can you do that? We just did. So for me, it's hard to separate the us or the we and to focus on her, but today I want to celebrate her. When I started looking at pictures to honor Wendy's life, a lot of emotions came forth, a lot of remembering of good times, which is what she wanted. But ultimately, I realized that during the 25 years, we were fortunate, as I'm sure it could be said, that we had the opportunity and we lived more than one lifetime. I read a quote the other day. It said, if you want to find love, then go find life. And that is what we did. Wendy had an appetite for life. Each day was a new day, and each day was a new opportunity. She embraced it, always being positive. In our early years, we created a company called Wings and Ink, which you've already heard about. The name came to us while consuming a good many glasses of wine, and yes, back then, Wendy did drink wine. We chose the hummingbird as our mascot as it represented love and magic. We also had decided to change the mascot on a regular basis, but that never happened because what had been created was magical enough. I remember getting a phone call from my mother asking, what are you doing? And we were out having dinner, enjoying some wine. It was the end of the day. The reply was, we're celebrating. Oh, what are you celebrating? Oh, well, we just landed a new client and, they have a really interesting project for us. So my mother states back, well, her little concerns. You've not done the project yet, and you haven't been paid yet. To which we replied, so what? Wendy would just be on the lookout for a reason to celebrate. The rest would follow, and it usually did. So follow life, and love will follow. People don't know this one. Okay, when I met Wendy, she had her horse, Monty. Thank you, Janice. A beautiful, small, gentle, spirited black horse, actually a power horse, if truth be it known. Monty came with a number of issues. He'd been lost, a lot of people don't know this one. He had been lost in a poker game to someone who didn't take the time to figure him out. And Wendy bought him as a polo pony for David, although Monty became her horse. Monty's physical issues, and he had a few, never stopped her from doing the best for him. She saw the potential. She was willing to give her time and her love And Monty would become one of our best field horses till the day he died at 37, which worked out to be 103 in human years. With his passing, we celebrated all the gifts he brought to others, all the healing he had done, especially to Wendy. At Wings and Ink, Wendy decided that we should celebrate. I'm going this way because there are a lot of them. They're all here. Holy shit, the whole front row. At Wings and Ink, we decided that we should celebrate employees' birthdays. So at first it wasn't easy to manage, but as the company grew, we had to have monthly gatherings. We would allow the individual to choose what restaurant or what cuisine, because, you know, why not? It was a great way to have people try different things. It was another thing that we did to celebrate. And then on our birthdays, we took the whole company out to celebrate it that way. There's one particular year, and my best year was 1999. And for my birthday, she orchestrated the purchase and delivery of a Porsche Boxster. Quite the surprise, quite the gift. But that was Wendy, always, always wanting to give. That year at 11 o'clock at night on New Year's Eve, we sat in the hot tub, and Janice and Michael had joined us, and we had a little tradition. The tradition was, you know, to talk about what is your highs and lows of the year. So, of course, my high was receiving a Porsche. Her high was giving it. To be able to do it and to make it happen. Wendy could also be subtle and to the point. Is this the right audience? No, okay. Right, Wendy could also be very subtle and sometimes very to the point. So, in the following week, I go downtown. I go to pick up a friend of mine to go for lunch. He comes down the street, he looks at the car, he admires the car, he looks inside, and sure enough, on the passenger seat in the foot, there's her makeup bag. And he looks at me and he goes, "What's that?" And I said, "Insurance." Wendy wants to make sure that if any woman is thinking of getting in, that seat is taken. As Wings and Ink grew, of course, we had our ups and downs, our trials and tribulations, but somehow we always made the best of it. That was her. Always looking for the positive, always being able to turn things around, and always celebrating the little things. The big things were easy, and she loved that too. Christmas was huge. Not only with the abundance of gift giving that she did with the family, but the Christmas party. She had strong ideas about creating community, and it went beyond that. It was family. So our Christmas events were actually extravaganzas. My favorite, their favorite, was the year that we celebrated King Henry's feast at Niagara on the Lake. Okay, that was her idea of a celebration. We actually got the whole bloody restaurant. We closed them out. So you get everyone in a totally different space. You push them to the limit. Everyone wore costumes. You pay attention to cover all the details. Me or the mic? You pay attention to and you cover all the details so everyone had a reservation, so no one had to drive or to worry about how to get home. Ooh, so you can imagine 30 or so drunken fools walking the streets of Niagara the Lake at 1 o'clock in the morning in period costumes, singing silly songs, and not having a care in the world. What a sight for any sober onlooker. But that was Wendy, creating, promoting, and challenging everyone to step into something different. All beautiful, a great celebration. If work was 9 to 5 and too often it was 8 to 7, then play was equally as more important to her. For Wendy, work was a means to play, and her play was polo. And ultimately, her relationship with horses. It didn't take much for me to fall in love with the sport, and before long we were selling the Aurora house for this farm so we could get more horses, to play more polo, to have some of our lives. And that's how we found this place, unbeknownst to us at that time, how it would be the perfect place. Wendy often spoke of the freedom of galloping down the field and playing what traditionally was a male-dominant sport. You can hear her, right? Screw that. She always had a determination that would question the status quo, and yes, it's true. She was called up on intimidation charges for yelling while charging down the field after a little 4-inch ball. Monty, by the way, was a Sherman tank on the polo field, would not be moved. This small horse never knew intimidation, so he didn't back off. Guess what? Just like her. In retrospect, her love of polo brought us here to this farm and this land and to many horses. Being on horseback was a celebration of freedom for her, to be in a totally different relationship with an animal, and then we did what Wendy did best. We blended one love with another. We were big supporters of polo for heart and made the event into a corporate event. I'm not sure if people realized that she was blending her loves and passions and celebrating them by sharing it with others. We had great times introducing new things, new thoughts to others. Years later, we would host Polo for Hope on this to help rescued horses, and I know it was a great satisfaction for her to have Hope on the sidelines helping out and have David out on the field playing the game that she loved. Her spirit knew no boundaries as it guided her dreams. In the year 2000, she was at a crossroads, or perhaps I should say we were at a crossroad, because we both felt there was something else, that there was something missing, but we couldn't put our finger on it. So much was happening, it was all good, and yet there was an emptiness, a longing. In retrospect, it isn't until you get to where you think you want to be that you realize there's an unknown, which is just beyond, and one that you need to face. So her spiritual side, being what is, started looking around and found shamanism. The spirit was calling, and calling big time. Here is where we started a new life, our second life together, while still living the first, and thank God we did it together. If it was spirit that brought us together, it was now spirit that would catapult us to a whole other level. For both of us, it was a time of healing deep wounds. It was a time of sharing intimate details of our past. It was a time when we allowed each other to see into each other's souls, to find the depth of heart and connection. In one of the teachings called Core Personalities, you just heard all the people that study shamanism, right? They're over in this section. Okay, so in one of the teachings called Core Personalities, I'm a do-gooder, meaning I'm always trying to help out and put others in front of me, which is why I could never accept help, right? Makes sense. Guess what? She was a fart. She was able to make the decisions that no one wants to make and implementing the actions that are required. Oh, and by the way, for those of you who are wondering what's the third one, Space Cadets. Yeah. You can see, right? Yeah, right here. Thank you, dear. It says right here, for those who are wondering, the third grouping is Space Cadet, those folks that easily slip into the clouds. Would you agree with that, Mr. Miguel? Thank you. Okay, so being a fart, she could make the decisions that I could not. She saw a black and white that I couldn't see. She could do what I could not. Some would say she was aggressive or assertive. Pig-headed. Sure, she could wrestle with the best of them and never back down. Trust me, I've been there, done that, lost it too. Her determination and spirit were tied to a higher purpose, even though in that moment she couldn't verbalize it. Being a fart was the perfect energy behind Wendy look. I'm pretty sure some of you have known it and some of you have known it well. Oh, hi, Mel. You would say something silly or stupid or make a really good faux pas, and there was the look. No words. Eyes piercing. A little twitch of the nose. The clenching of her teeth, which showed up as tightness on her lip. And that look spoke volumes. Later, she would be known as the Boundary Queen, and that look was just part of it. Shamanism became another life for us. Yes, we were doing daily meditations, exercising, Pilates, work, polo, socializing sometimes, but a new way of looking at the world and a new way of being suddenly opened up, and one that had so much resonance with us. Wendy was already spiritual, as you've heard, But now she had a framework and a new understanding, and she soaked it up and integrated it into her life and mine and others, perhaps unbeknownst to them. It was a great time for us as we celebrated life by traveling to distant places with some amazing people, to study old ways, to experience new places and cultures, to question our beliefs, and to open up to what the world had to offer. It was life being lived, life being loved. In Native traditions, it is customary to celebrate one's physical evolution, what we would call a birthday, as a rites of passage ceremony. And as, as Janice already said, so it was during one of those overnight ceremonies that she got her vision of working with horses on the ground and helping people. Someone suggested she should read Linda Kohanoff's book, and the rest, they say, is history. She gobbled Linda's books, went to Arizona for a workshop, signed up to become a facilitator, started offering workshops here, and I actually see a lot of faces that were here for the very first workshop she ever did, because we gave it away because she needed the experience. And Jack was the one who actually wrote, "You've got to get rid of the cue cards." There was literally a new fire in her heart. Suddenly, the world of horses and her relationship with them became her passion and her focus. You may not know this, but when Wendy puts her mind to something, you have a choice. Get out of the way or go for the ride, period. Wendy was always an avid reader. It was her form of relaxation. This January, we had a crisis day when she finished her last junk book. You know those little romance novels? It's basically, girl meets guy, girl falls in love with guy, something terrible happens, and there aren't enough Kleenex in the room to bring him back. But on this day, and she would call them junk books, but on this day, she'd missed the library, she'd read everything in the house, so she panicked, and she did what anyone in any relationship would do. Can you go to the store and get me a couple books? And yep, I went and grabbed a bag of chips for myself. Books were important because she was always wanting to expand knowledge, explore other beliefs and ways of being. So she read horse books, books about the horse work, spiritual books, shamanism, star beings, Atlantis. Before we would go on any journey, she'd read up all the local folklore so we could better experience it, visiting sacred sites. She truly challenged herself to expand her thinkings and beliefs, which made her a complex and very strong person. So back to horses. My grandmother, years before I ever met Wendy, told me, "A good woman is one that loves horses." I have a feeling most women in this room today would agree. I know a few men who might disagree. There's a bumper sticker that comes to mind, and I hope I've got the word right. My husband says my horse is more pampered than him. Did I get it right? Okay, good. And then there's the ad that read, "We'll trade husband for a good tractor." Wendy had her horse, he surprised me one day with... Okay, I'm going through these mics really quick. Okay. So she surprised me one birthday with Northern Lady, a 5-year-old. She's no longer a 5-year-old. A 5-year-old thoroughbred Percheron mix. So now we each had a horse and we could play polo. Then we wanted to play more, so we got Pappy and Dusty and Lucy and the farm and the tractor. The small barn had 5 stalls and we had 5 horses, and Wendy wanted more. So we renovated the big barn and put in 12 stalls, and before I knew it, we had 12 horses. Then she had a riding accident, and the neurosurgeon suggested she stop playing polo and she shouldn't ride anymore. Well, that didn't go over very well. And it didn't last long, because determined as she was, she found gaited horses that would be easy on her back when riding. So after she became a certified Epona instructor, her relationship with horses changed. She started blending the horsework with shamanism. She saw them more than just a riding partner, but a spiritual partner. Horses were here to help us evolve, emotionally and spiritually, became the basis of the field approach and the work she devoted herself for pursuing and promoting. The small barn was renovated to be a meeting room, the latter adding the kitchen, the bathroom, bedroom. She was always willing to transform her surroundings and, more impressively, transform herself. And I'm not just talking hairstyles. People started to come to workshops, private sessions, and by 2008, as Janice said, we were being asked to teach this method. Heart and spirit, you horses and humans, an opportunity for both species to evolve, and along the way, like-minded people came together and communities were formed. The field approach, as it became known, was her love and passion, an opportunity to share all her knowledge and beliefs while helping horses. Some people call it horse therapy, I call it the horse work, she would call it her calling. Nothing gave her more satisfaction than facilitating a group of women, and sometimes the men showed up too, through a program that kept evolving, getting broader and richer. Each graduating group was a celebration for her, knowing that many more people were taking the work out and making a difference for people, and just as importantly, for the horses. Her connection to horses was physical, emotional, and spiritual. Species boundaries dissolved as she connected and strengthened the concept of horse ancestors and later the ascended horse beings. As Jackie Ladouceur, one of our field graduates, shared, I feel so blessed and grateful to have known her, to have been mentored by her, to have been a student of her ongoing wisdom, brilliance, kindness, beauty, and inspiration. Co-authoring in Healing with Horses and birthing the Honoring the Horse Committee together, and spending years being part of the spiritual journey with her and along with the horses, horse ancestors, and ascended horse beings was truly magical and life-changing. She has forever changed and strengthened the horse-human bond and consciousness. I truly believe that Wendy's gifted ability to journey between the world will never be lost to us. She will meet us through higher consciousness, thinning our veils in our dreams and our journeys. Her work is not done, and neither is ours. Thank you, Jackie. Horse Spirit Connections was one of the first in Canada to present this work, and many people thought that we were nuts, straight out crazies. My father would ask us, why are you creating competition for yourselves? Sorry, Dad, some questions are best not answered. And thank goodness for her dreams, her determination, her foresight, and her unwillingness to give up. Last week, I received a note from Leif Hallberg of Australia, who is co-writing a book about who's who in the horse work world with Maureen Rogers of the United States. Horse Spirit Connections has attracted international recognition. Leif had read on Facebook of Wendy's passing, so she wrote, "Please feel free to share that Wendy's work will be presented in our newest book, which will be published by Routledge, the world-leading academic press for humanities and social sciences, and will be available either in late 2019 or 2020. Wendy would have wanted to celebrate that, and I will. As Wendy dove deeper into the horsework, heart connection, spiritual connection, she kept challenging herself and others to explore and go even further. She was blending so much of her life experience and surrounding herself with like-minded souls to push the boundary of who we are at core and what are human spiritual possibilities. When asked to bring the shamanic teachings to a group of people, another community was born, the Wisdom Circle. Where are they all hiding? Oh, geez. Okay. Wendy always had the time to support people who wanted to evolve, to heal, to improve. They say the student eventually becomes the teacher. Wendy would say becoming a teacher made me a better student, and a student for more. She was always willing to share and to give of herself. A 2-year program became 6 years as appetites grew and new teachings and new ceremonies were introduced. After those weekends, we would celebrate with quiet time. Maybe a pizza, a bottle of wine for me, and support for one another. No need for fanfare. So you bring horses, hearts, and spirit into the mix, and she loved being challenged. Dr. Jen in Colorado called her one of the legends of our field, and on hearing of Wendy's passing, posted, "During the time I led the Healing with Horse Collective, Wendy became one of our most beloved and frequent contributors, generously sharing horse wisdom from a high level of spiritual awareness and heart connection. Always, she put the partnership with the horses first, letting them lead the way back to wisdom. That was her teaching, her mantra, her walk, her talk. When the idea came up to have a field graduates come together and share experiences, it was a celebration with a huge bonus. Wendy got to see and hear how the impact of her dream was rippling and filtering out into the world. The field alumni was birthed at the first gathering, and with Wendy's energy behind it, it manifested within months. Another community, another family, one which continues to grow in numbers and geography. And there were other dreams that needed manifesting. In 2012, we embarked on a journey to ultimately manifest the only Hopi-style kiva in Canada, being built on the property. We celebrated in community. On December the 21st, the end of the Mayan calendars, the start of a new world, a new awareness. Timing sometimes is everything. The kiva being in the ground allows participants to connect with Gaia. It was and is the perfect complement to the sacred sweat lodge connecting with spirit. As dance chief of a sacred sweat lodge, Wendy led Sisterhood Sweats, and she loved it. Another opportunity to make a difference in people's lives. Another celebration of being with spirit. And after the sweats, we normally have a communal feast to celebrate and share food and laughter. She was incredible at listening, at supporting, and she excelled at challenging. Not a hard challenge, the whacking somebody over the head with a 2x4, not that kind. But a penetrating challenge that hit a nerve deep inside, that awakened a deep memory, that caused the person to realize their own strength and beauty. A challenge that came from the heart and her spirit, and she was a pro. Victoria Samuelson wrote, "Wendy and I challenge each other, I know that. She triggered in me so many people in my past. But what she challenged me the most to do is to better myself by opening my heart and listening to my intuition, to always reach for the best in myself and to challenge those who seek to do otherwise. I will always be grateful to her for that." Thank you, Victoria, because I know you're in this room. Wendy's medicine name was Golden Cougar Woman. And when she outgrew it, she received her elder name, Sunshine Maiden, a perfect blend of masculine and feminine energy, a ray of light that touches the soul, and a young woman with the nurturing energies to heal the world. Her connection to the star beings, to a higher power and frequency, became stronger. The more she explored and the more she brought forth. Tabletop healing, walking meditations with horses, soul shift, heart breath, connecting with horse ancestors. Many of these were incorporated into our advanced training program because she wanted others to take it out. When I reflect on what she created, I see common denominators. Get out of your head. Get in your heart. Trust your intuition. Trust spirit. Believe in yourself. Witness the magic that's all around you and feel the love. Celebrate life. Leona Sofia Fass of Sweden summarized it in these words: "Wendy changed my and my horse's life for the better. I have rarely felt so seen and understood by another human. Her aura and energy was inspiring, motivating, healing, and transforming. Her words touched me deeply and went right to my heart. Never will I forget how she said to me she refers to herself as a star being when I told her how I often feel like an alien in our society. She said, it sounds better than alien, with a smile on her face making me feel so understood and held in compassion. I feel so blessed to have met this wonderful woman on earth and feel extra proud to be part of the Field family, to carry on her legacy and help people and horses in their own healing journey. I'm convinced Wendy will continue sharing her wisdom with us. We just need to listen a bit better and look out for the signs." Thank you, Leonie. Wendy's desire to share what she knew, what she believed in of horses, people, spirit, of herself was immense. Over the last couple of years, she had started a new project, writing her book, which she had hoped to be her legacy. And I'm sure by now you can guess the direction and content of that book, right? Wendy could never sit idly, and she was a believer that the world is changed by your example, not by your opinion. Her passion, her passing to many, and to me, Hope, David, James, and Ben, seems abrupt, and yet she's still here. Allah, I didn't get to say hello to you when you came in, but Allah Hirsch shared it best. As I worked with and around my horses, I would catch bits of conversation that I'd had with Wendy in the past. I'd hear parts of her talks from times that I'd been in her audience listening as she directed our group to the next activity. I felt her calmness that was also always filled with so much intent and purpose. She brought horses into a new realm for me. She helped me know for sure that I had always suspected about them. She showed me that I could see, hear, feel, and relate to my horses as equal, beings that I could learn from and that they could also learn from me. Wendy did in one lifetime what most people couldn't do in 10. She gave her life to help us be better people, to be better to all living things and to each other. She loved the horses. She was a beautiful teacher and a very kind soul. I will miss her very much. Thank you, Allah. In the end, her spirit chose the most appropriate time to step off this physical plane with as much power as possible. At noon, she was visited by each of the horses, Lady, Spirit Walker, and Juliet, then Paris, Redman, and Braveheart, and finally Contador, Rhea, and Starlight Dancer. Her day was rich in song, being sung and drummed to, being read to, being held, loved, and kissed. Between the equinox of a new spring, the magic of a full moon, and the alignment of Arcturus, a passageway to the highest spiritual world is said to have opened. Her family was also present, Hope, James, David, Charlena. And while 20 women sat in a sweat lodge, focusing on self-love, self-respect, and dissolving the inner prison that holds their hearts, Wendy seized that opportunity to celebrate a new beginning.
Can we have the champagne, please? I need a drink. Straight into the mic.
Can I have the champagne, please? So I'm using a special glass, one that Wendy found to celebrate our wedding. So the story has it that there was a young man who was in love with a woman, and the father did not approve. Some of us have been there. So he put the man to a test, saying that if he can drink from the same glass at the same time, then you can marry her. The young man was a metal worker, and he designed a glass that the two of them could drink and hold the drink at the same time. Now, how Wendy came about finding that glass is totally beyond me. We drank from it on our wedding day. What it always reminded me was that the impossible is only a limitation of our beliefs. Wendy had no limitations, nor does she now. Her physical end is just the beginning of limitless opportunities which I know she will embrace. At her core is her willingness to give, to love, and to help each of us and the horses so we may all evolve to our fullest potential. The other morning I was waking at 3 o'clock in the morning. I had that, that little nudging thing that happens to you at your core. And I couldn't sleep. So I finally got out of bed. I went and sat with my open pipe and I connected with her. And the words she said was, I was born to live this life. And in living life, I found love. I returned to spirit on the wings of love, having loved and been loved. She is free. Please, in celebration of a beautiful person, a wonderful life, and an inspiring soul, will you please raise your glass to my beloved Wendy, Sunshine Maiden.
Our next speaker, Nicholas Maxlow, who will talk from the community of shamanism. Thank you, Nicholas.
Thank you. Holy shit. All right, I want you to try figure out how you would follow the act that just happened up here. Oh, you're probably wondering what I've got these plates for. Okay, I'm a lapsed Catholic, so I thought what I could do is make a few bucks and maybe you could pass them around for some money. Okay, so many years ago, when I was learning how to do eulogies, they said, you know, there's so much heavy energy at a eulogy, at one of these gatherings, that you need a joke. You need to keep it light. That was my attempt at it. So if I harmed any Catholics, tough shit. Okay, so I don't know how to do this. I really don't. I'll ground myself first. He's bringing me a glass of champagne, right? Oh?
No, I'm just going to stand here with you. That's
Oh, okay, thank you. He's going to anchor me.
You and I have done this too often now, where one of us has to anchor the other person while we go through these incredible little times.
Yeah, that's right.
Doesn't matter where the hell we go, we always end up doing it at some point.
We always do.
And shortly thereafter, we therefore drink a shitload of wine.
That's right.
Good.
When do I get the shitload of wine?
After you do what you have to do.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, you can,
No, I'm going to stand right
okay.
here.
Well, I need a little bit of space, because, thank you.
I can hold the microphone like this.
I am married, you know. Okay.
Et elle parle du bon français.
Oh, oui, merci. Okay, so I was invited into this community. I actually met Andre and Wendy 19 years ago when they joined Red Lodge. I was a year ahead of them. And I was always chronologically a year ahead of them, but they surpassed me a long time ago. Some of the teachings that they did were just incredible. Things that they pulled together, I never thought we could pull together. Things that we did together, I never thought we could do shamanically. I never saw ceremonies being pulled off like we pulled them off here and at this place, on this sacred grounds. And it was such a pleasure, and it was such an honor, and it was a thrill to meet all of you in ceremony, to meet many of you, to be a firekeeper for you, to share wisdom with you, to be with you, because I got that from Wendy. Wendy gave me permission. Andre gave me permission to be here and to share with you the wisdom that I gained in the 76 years of my life. The one thing that you don't know is that 22 years ago, my wife was born on, I'm not sure if it's April 8th or April 9th. I never did get it bloody thing right, even when she was alive. I'm lousy with dates.
When did you buy her flowers?
Yes. I always bought them early so I wouldn't make a mistake.
Oh, good.
Okay, so where was I? Oh yeah, 22 years ago, I went through this. My wife died of cancer. She was an Aries. And there was a small group of people. This is a horde. We could have made a lot of money if we had been really passed the plates around.
Hey, we can use the drum as a collection.
Oh, got it. That's about right. That's perfect. Make it 5s and 10s, will you? Thank you. Oh, is this mine? Thank you, Hope.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
That's why it's called Hope.
That's why she's called Hope. She brings hope. But seriously, life is fleeting. So you take advantage of it when you can. When you have a partner, always tell your partner how much you love your partner, okay? I'm going to digress from the shamanic here. I'm going to go to life. Life is such that if you don't take the time to tell your partner how much you love them, you're doing both of yourselves a disfavor. Always be there. Always love them. So a couple of days before Wendy passed, I was out here. I was babysitting while my wife and my stepson were having the horse experience here. And when Wendy came, woke up, I said hi and we started chatting, and I said to her, you can go now. You've done it all. You have a fantastic legacy. Your teachings and the work that you've done is all over the bloody world. What do you want to hang around for in this pain? Release yourself from the pain and get on with your life. Get on with your evolution. It's there for you. It's there for all of us. So we kissed.
You did what?
I kissed 3 or 4 times.
Oh.
And you know what? It was good. Now, I can't say anything because I know it was good for you too. A couple of sight jokes. You just have to do it. You can't let these things go by. You can't let it go by. Okay.
Nicholas,
All right.
focus.
A couple of days after that, I lost my right eye. I went blind, a detached retina. I couldn't see a bloody thing. I still can't see a bloody thing. That's why I didn't write anything down. It's all coming out. I'm done. What I want you to know is, I'd like you to do this thing, just one little thing for me, okay? And I'm closed.
No, for Wendy.
For Wendy. This is for Wendy. I want you to close your eyes. I want you to go inside your heart, and I want you to find that memory. I want you to find that memory that is near and dear to you, that holds Wendy in your heart. Think of it. Get that as a firm picture in your heart. And then what I want you to do is I want you to take your hands and form a cup in front of your face. That's it, just like that. That's it. Now I want you to take a deep breath, and I want you to blow out, and I want you to release that from your heart and say, I release you into the light with love. I release you into the light with love. I release you into the light with love. Because Wendy has got her evolution to continue. And she can't do it if you hold her here. Release her into the light with love. Thank you.
How can you use words to define someone who is beyond the scope of words? So now what I'd like to do, and it's kind of a difficult thing to do, we're going over here, Andre, is we're going to take the talking stick, which we so often do here after or during a ceremony or a sweat lodge. And the beauty of what today is going to be in doing this ceremony is we all add one word into the space. And I'm going to pass this talking stick around. And like Wendy, it's not a normal talking stick. As you can see, it's this incredible horse that so many of you have held before. And the beauty of who she is the summation of all these one words that are going to be in the space. So it's an honor to begin.
Where you want to start over here?
No, I'm going to begin with me. Community. Oh.
Love.
Hugs.
Grace.
Strength.
Love.
Generosity.
Joy. Tenacious. Caring.
A mother.
Teacher.
Joy.
Smile. Love.
Magnificent. Oh.
Gratitude. Passion.
Courage. Determination. Loved.
Compassion.
Grateful.
Faith.
Peace.
Transcendence.
Rebirth.
Forgiveness.
Look at my eyes. Perseverance. Hope.
Ferocity.
Grace.
Kindness.
Supportive.
Joy. Strength. Fire.
Intention.
Transgression.
Role model. Impeccable.
Challenge.
Peace.
Love,
Friendship. Kindness.
Cougar woman.
Community.
Seeker. Friendship. Horses.
Acceptance. Transformation. Nurturing.
Discovery. Healer.
Joy.
Ethereal.
Hope.
Vulnerability.
New path.
Serenity. Wisdom.
Friendship. Gratitude.
Passion. Loving kindness. Goddess.
Shine.
Red Hawk.
Smiles.
Sister. World opening.
Loving power. Heart space.
Heart space. Inner beauty. Searcher.
Fire. Together.
Happy.
Friendship.
Passion.
Inspiration.
That's going to be mine.
Trailblazer. Authentic.
Water.
Stardust.
Say birth. 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 Birth.
Say love. Love.
Beautiful. Friend.
There we go.
Spirit. Butterfly.
Fulfillment.
Protector.
Awe-inspiring.
Vision. Growth.
Love. Beauty.
Balanced. Expansion.
Extraordinary.
Powerful.
Grounding.
Limitless. Sparkle.
Authentic.
Grace.
Mother Nature.
Gold Dust Woman.
Brilliance.
Abundance.
Love.
Kind.
Magical. Dreamer.
Love.
Image maker. Oh.
Confidence.
New beginnings.
Magical.
Warmth.
Connection.
Radiance.
Home.
Authenticity.
Legacy.
Fierce.
Resonance.
Awakening.
Explorer.
Listener. Intuition.
Empowering.
True beauty.
Innovative.
Legendary. Warrior.
Honest.
Conviction.
Maywitch. Sunshine.
Opportunist.
Guardian.
Visionary.
Open heart. Mentor. Integrity.
Sage.
Scholar.
Special.
Courage.
Trust. Reflection.
Determined.
Sunshine.
Pathfinder. Guiding star.
Patience.
Connection. Beautiful.
Heritage.
Chestnut mare.
Original.
Genuine.
Blessed. Family.
Teacher.
Mentor.
Grace. Soul sister. Respect.
Empathy.
Kind.
Persistent.
Balance.
Poetry.
Permission.
Life.
Thoughtful. Warrior.
Girl power.
Love.
Truth. Reckoning.
Radiance.
Loving.
Healer.
Truth. Community.
Celebrate.
Free spirit.
Strength. Flawless. Savior.
Guiding light.
Sacred. Strength in spirit.
Ranger.
Gaze.
Untethered.
Friend.
Selflessness.
Union.
Passionate.
Warmth.
Connected.
Giver.
Surrender.
Strength.
Beautiful soul.
Moksha.
Greatness. I still have one more word I need to put in, and I'll do so now.
My love.
Dreams